Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's been about a week. Sorry for the delay. Classes got started and so many papers, all the papers. It was absurd. But we're back now. We're gonna get back into our series on Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And I actually have notes this time instead of just telling you guys stuff I think is really cool. So maybe that'll do a little bit better. I've decided the way that we're gonna do this is we're just gonna do them one chapter at a time, and I'll talk about what happens in the chapter, give you guys an idea what happens, and let you guys move on from there. We're only going to do about one chapter a night. We're never going to go over that, because I'm never going to make notes for over that, because I'm lazy. Sorry, just how it is. We've still got this stream from the other day that we're going to use. I've been looking over this, and the amount of time it's going to require to actually go through this entire book, one chapter at a time, is actually going to be somewhere around the vicinity of 120 days. Which, whatever, that's fine. I don't mind. I'll keep doing it. But basically that means that occasionally we're going to stop and do something else every now and then. Because I don't have that kind of attention span all the time. So, but, We'll take it one step at a time. Anywho, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. We talked a little bit last time about characters that are super cool, that everybody should pay attention to. Characters that are reasons why you should play this game. Or, not play this game, read this book. Give me a minute to get my bearings here. I haven't actually touched this in this whole week, so I don't know where we're at. Theology. Okay, so we're just in Murica, taking Murica, as you do. Okay, that's fine. We should totally get something right here, so we can just boop. Awesome. We'll branch out and take this. We know Pedro the Second. Oh, he's in Alaska. This is 880 AD, and we've only met one person. What setting is this on? I didn't even pay attention. Alright, whatever. Let's get started. So, the book starts off talking about the rise of the Han Empire, or the dynasty. For those of you who aren't aware, the Han dynasty was a dynasty that cropped up right after the Qin dynasty, I think it was. The Qin were basically draconian assholes. And to be fair, from what I can tell, the Han weren't too much better. They were still pretty bad, but they weren't horrible. And that dynasty was started in 202 BC by Liu Bang. I'm going to try to keep names to a minimum throughout this. I know that's kind of counterproductive, considering we got to know who we're talking about here. But I think it'll be a lot more helpful, just because it's really hard to keep track of Chinese names if you don't hear them constantly, throughout your day. But yeah, so Rise of the Han from 202 BC by Liu Bang. This was a pretty good time in Chinese history, as far as I can tell. Nothing too terrible was going on. But around the 2nd century AD, I think is when it was, things sort of started to fall apart for the Han. And a lot of that gets thrown on the eunuchs. Now, I'm sure a lot of people know what eunuchs are. It's not a difficult concept to grasp. But, just in case, eunuchs are, generally speaking, people who have been castrated to serve some sort of function within the government at the time. This could be anything from serving a specific female not courtesan, serving a specific member of the court, female generally, making, or not servicing, obviously, but basically they were castrated so that they wouldn't have any ambition to do things because they lost their masculinity. This turned out to be a fucking terrible and worthless idea, but I can kind of see where they get the thought. But yeah, a lot of this is kind of thrown at their feet, which I mean, whatever. These things happen. Um, what? I thought I just moved him. Huh. Um, but yeah, the eunuchs in Chinese history in particular get a lot of stuff thrown at their feet. Um, Mostly because they're people who, you know, after being completely castrated, uh, were brought into the fold and given not so much a place of power, but of respect because they were doing things that they had made a sacrifice and were doing things that nobody else had. Um, but it was pretty common, as far as we can tell, that eunuchs just kind of started taking control of stuff for kicks. You know, you're in a position of power long enough. You're around positions of power long enough. That kind of happens. Um, how was I doing these? Let's go with a paper maker first, because I don't remember. If my throat sounds a little bit weird, it's because I got completely hammered last night. And when I get hammered, I tend to yell. And I have not actually recovered yet from screaming way too much. Um, Sorry about that. But yeah, so what ends up happening is around the second century AD. Sorry, what do we call that now? It's not BCE. Common Era. That's it. That's it. Around the second century Common Era, which I think is dumb. The fact that we make that distinction is the fact that we make that distinction, but don't change how we handle that is stupid. But anyway, not what we're talking about here. Around that time frame, the one of the weaker emperors of the Han line came into power, Emperor Huan. And basically, what ended up happening was he just stopped caring about anything relevant to his station and threw all of his work at the eunuchs. All of it. Didn't pay attention to his advisors, threw all the work to the eunuchs. Made eunuchs advisors, just gave eunuchs way too much power. Um, which, that's fucking, fuck. But, yeah. So, obviously, things started going downhill pretty quickly for these guys, which, that sucks. They had a good run, though. Like 400 years. It's pretty good. But what ends up happening is he, you know, has a pretty weak run of it, and ends up eventually abdicating. Well, probably dying. Honestly, I don't really have notes on how that one happened, but he ends up. Oh shit! Oh shit! I have two of these guys. Weird. He ends up being replaced after a while with Emperor Ling, probably due to old age or whatever. But he gets replaced by Emperor Ling, and Emperor Ling kind of gets shafted, as far as I can tell. Like, sure, he's not the strongest ruler that's ever ruled China. He's definitely not the brightest, but like he doesn't do too bad. Except on the day he's crowned, a snake breaks through the top, the roof of the throne room, and lands in his chair, in his throne, and he passes the fuck out right at that second. But yeah, basically, what ends up happening is just he wasn't a terribly effective ruler. There was a lot of natural disasters, which, for anybody who studies Chinese history, natural disasters generally tend to mean that, the current ruler had done gone fucked up. That was nice. But yeah, the current ruler done fucked up. And generally speaking, this is when we see a lot of times like this, or when we see a lot of upheaval and people being replaced for better looking dudes. Which isn't actually what happened this time, but kind of.